I sing for all things that don't wanna die. Sparrow as he falls, still he strives to fly. Never ceases hoping he shall rise again, soaring before he hits the ground. The flowers cut down, penance for their beauty, stretched to feel the sun. Memories of first kisses and I love yous unmake the word goodbye. Sparrow falls, flowers wither too. The world is silent again. All is as all must be. Silenced again. Don't take this little soul. It owes his name a heart of gold. Don't take this little soul. The arms of angels be soft as snow. Don't take this little soul. No, no, they are not and can never be his. Don't take this little soul. I won't let you go. Don't take this little soul. Sweet soul, I won't let you go. Don't take this little soul. Sweet soul. Hey everybody, look who's back! It's Missy Hill with her baby dolls. Who are those little angels?
This is Stormy,
Hi,
and this is her
Stormy.
mother, Freya.
Freya?
Freya. Stormy
Oh.
and Freya.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Oh, they are gorgeous. And yes, they look more like sisters, but Freya's like, "Oh, thank you." They are gorgeous, and you look so beautiful in your well, it's not quite chartreuse and it's not quite lime, but it's just a yummy, yummy green in honor of Earth Week. And just you look gorgeous, honey. It looks like you got some cool purple in your hair. No? Am I
Blue is, I look like my rooster. My hair looks like a blue copper Moran. It was kind of an afterthought. This whole thing with doing the hair different colors, you hear him in the background?
I hear him. Hey, buddy.
They want to go. Okay, go ahead.
Bye,
go
girls.
play. The whole thing with me having done my hair, I'm seeing was calling in the bird clan because it started last year. I wanted to start adding color to my hair. I went to the local college at AB Tech and I said, I want my hair to look like bird feathers, the color, and to flip back like, bird feathers or whatever.
Uh-huh.
And I realized now, after I did this a couple weeks ago, this blue, I'm like, well, I think what's happening is I'm calling in the rooster.
Yeah,
See?
I
See?
agree. The bird people really seem to be stepping forward right now. And I'm sure that's probably connected to the Sky Clan and all that. But I don't know if you've noticed, but I noticed that Pam Jones, my girl over at weaponizednews.com, she was posting that she was really, really, really feeling sick. And I'm so used to managing these energies for a couple decades now. I mean, yes, it's increased tenfold, but I just don't even, I mean, I noticed to myself that it's worse, but it's just like I'm so used to trying to push through it. But I don't know if you've noticed, but the last few days have been really intense. Maybe it's a California thing too, because she's in California. But really, really intense, and a lot of um, connections. Like I want to say loose ends. You know, like lifetime loose ends are kind of coming back and resurfacing old connections, people that are bringing us back to pieces of ourselves that we haven't seen for a long time, you know, from childhood, and a lot of healing being done. Yeah, a lot of people are still, you know, buried like ostrich heads, but um, it's there's just really an amped up. I mean, my pulse is racing constantly. My animals are fighting. You know, not bad, but just like everybody's, you know, like gone nuts. The neighbors are fighting. I mean, it's just like the energy's intense. What do you think?
Well, we met exactly 2 months ago, shy of 3 days. Now that was posted a couple weeks later. But
Right.
what was coming to me today, these activations, ever since for lack of a better word, the Easter, which we know is distorted, and I did a video on this whole thing, but that timeline, that since the equinox and the different eclipses and all that timeline, those 33 days, and then even still, it has been so intense, with at times being exhausted for a lot of people. And I'm thinking, here we go again.
Yeah.
Work the tools. Now's the time to work the tools. So
Yeah.
I wanted to show some of the tools I'm using. I'm using moxa, which is mugwort.
Oh,
This
cool.
is like the big guns of energy clearing as opposed to sage. It also helps with the dream time, but say, like in Chinese medicine, you'll clear your meridians, and a lot of the attacks will come in through the gallbladder channel. So to clear the whole gallbladder meridian all the way down the leg like
Okay.
this, see, and the arm and the whole thing, and clear the energy field, and also the corners of the house. So go around the whole house, inside and out, around the windows, around the doorways. Expand your energy field into the space and do this around the whole house, and the property grid lines. Been getting the past couple days, I've been up and down as far as sleep state, because there's something diagonally going on in the state of North Carolina, especially. And I connected
Wow.
with another person in North Carolina, and they said, yes, that's true. Also, essential oils. I was working with energy to raise the energy up. This is a Young
Hmm.
Living oil. And then I also have peppermint, is so good to put on the temples. I mean, we know this stuff, but don't forget, don't forget these tools. Put
Well,
it on the temples.
also,
Your organs right here by the computer.
oh, yay.
So all
Well,
things.
everything that you just said, I just wanted to validate because I think that it's important. We're all getting the same information. I think it's really important to validate. Peppermint is what I've been using. Peppermint's also good for tumors, implants. I mean, peppermint is such a powerful oil, essential oil, or even if you haven't knit herbs. I did a grid with my shaman sage, which is a mixture of 7 different. I don't believe mugwort's in there. I'm gonna have to get a mugwort sage, but I did my grids earlier this week. The whole property lines, the whole house. I rearranged all the crystals in my house to combat. I think the same thing you're saying is just like energy that's just shooting in every direction off the grids. What's that? That's cool. What is
I've
that?
got two crescent skulls. These are seasoned grid
Oh
workers that have
yeah.
been all over the country, Puerto Rico twice, and
Is that fluoride on?
Ireland
Is
recently.
that fluoride
This
on?
is a This is a clear quartz named Shambhala, and this is citrine
Oh,
named Jerusalem,
citrine.
the New Jerusalem. So we have the Shambhala
Oh, and the
in the east and the
Jerusalem.
Jerusalem in the west. Yeah.
Nice,
So they're
baby.
seasoned grid workers, and I just wanted people to feel their energy signature as
Yeah.
we start to talk about some of the stuff. What I want to jump in and say about Carson is it's interesting. I think I told the story on the last show that he came here December 31st of 2014, right before we went into the
The rooster?
2015 timeline, the rooster,
Yeah,
yes.
okay.
And when I found out what it represents guardianship, protection, solar deities, sexual energy, or say even the misuse of and patriarchal stuff. So
Sure.
he's working on something to do with the patriarchy and reptilian genetics, because if you look at his legs, and one day I was connecting in with him, here he goes, he's telling me it's Arcturian for one.
Yep.
The energy of Kukulkan, the feather serpent, was coming in, because if you look at his legs, they look dinosaurish, and chickens are related to dinosaurs, and the chicken has been domesticated from the Asian jungle bird for about 8,000 years. It's interesting. Pieces to do with Asian grids have been showing up in the past few weeks. Big stuff to do with Cambodia, and this has come around. It comes around a few times, but there's many different materials coming out where people are talking about the hybridization from the Orion groups, the Zetas, the Greys, and things like that, and how these are, bird people, seraphim, the distorted energy of the Syrian Anunnaki, which would be the Sirius A and C, not the Sirius B, which, we connect to.
Right.
So all this stuff is being re-encrypted, and no matter what our genetic is, we have the right to be a sovereign being, to connect with our God source, our higher avatar self, our oversoul, and claim our sovereignty, that we cannot be manipulated in any way, shape, or form. That is the important thing to remember. No matter what is happening, know that you are a sovereign being. We are sovereign, and we don't have to put up with the manipulation, the implants. We'll be able to start seeing the implants better, to remove them, and they're not going to get us. It may look, like we still don't have as much of a foothold, but the ones of us that are seasoned, we're going to start to feel better. We're going to, our downtime is not going to be so much, which means yesterday I was exhausted when I came home, but then I was up again in 40 minutes after a long day, and I did have acupuncture yesterday, which was very helpful. And then I decided I would do some Kundalini yoga and things to clear the body and clear the space here, even after being tired. And I've been called out to be in some groups, so mixing of different energies and things like that, because a lot of times it seems like a lot of hibernation time. And so sometimes we'll be called out to do our thing, and then we'll have to come back and retreat and hibernate to regroup, especially if we are a seasoned grid worker.
I mean, I've never really been comfortable in the body. Food has never been a comfortable thing for me. Sleep has never been something that was really like sustainable for me, even when I was a kid. And in the last few days, I'm really feeling not, again, I didn't, it's not a depression. It's not, a suicidal ideation. It's literally, it feels like it would be easier to not be in this body anymore. You know what I mean? And what that's allowing me to really wrap my brain around is, again, ascension. And clearly, if we are moving into a fifth dimensional reality, these are three-dimensional bodies, and I'm not sure how quickly they would be able to adapt. So, throwing all this information together, I'm kind of feeling more like it's not a battle anymore. It's sort of like it's time to just sort of, I don't know, find peace, like find that treasured, like I just have been enjoying being in the earth and near the water and with my animals and just, I don't know, like kind of letting go. And I don't want to bring the conversation down at all. And you know me, man, I'm a warrior, I'm Xena. But I can sense that we're moving into something different. I guess that's what I want to say.
Well, I feel that too, and the reason is because if we're going to rejuvenate the body to become, say, youth, the fountain of youth. We want to rejuvenate and to for what's coming, we need to have lots of strength and energy, I feel.
Yeah,
I'm
that's
not
true.
sure exactly what it is, whether, there's been talk of different things with the economic system, with the grid, and I don't want to go to that place because there's whistleblowers and people. I want to hold the higher notes. I've talked about that kind of stuff on radio shows, and there's plenty of people that will tell you about the economy and, what could happen with the solar flares or if there's an EMP or any of those kind of things. I don't want to go there.
Well, it's more,
But we prepared for whatever could happen,
definitely.
and it starts with our own physical terrain. It's still the same thing as before, which is download, process, integrate. Download, process, integrate. So for that, we need to clear our body. We need to stay hydrated. We need to have whatever food we're led to eat with lots of life force. We need to sleep. But in the sleep state, at least some of the things are changing, which I find interesting. Some people are having weird astral, yucky type dreams again, where because in the 3D life they're not, under attack or having a issue. So it's happening in the dream state. But what this is there's a wrapping up of all this because the astral plane as we know it is collapsing. So many of us that have been in that dream state are there to help change the astral field for one, and also on the psychological level, it's to just look at all the different things in the character that may not even be of the personality self. It may be the ancestral, it may be the grids we're connected to, the people we're connected to, that may show itself through our persona even though it's not us. Because remember, this is us, but it's not us, because once we clear our personal field, then we have another level of clearing to do for that which we're connected to, be it our ancestral, be it the grids that we live on, like say here in North Carolina, we've had I've talked about this before, we've had the Civil War timelines here, as well as the removal of the Cherokee to Oklahoma on this land, okay? Now, that segues back to Ireland, what we were going to talk a little bit about last week. I mean, not last week, a couple of months ago.
Episode before last.
When we went to Ireland, for me, what I was getting was like the nervous system of the planet, or at least one of the nervous systems. And what, in our physical body, the doorway to the heart, say, behind the heart is called the natal plexus, which is the blueprint of the nervous system that connects to the next dimension up. Okay? So a lot of these implants in the physical body, like have been fourth dimensional, say zeta, reticuli, gray alien technology implants that have been put in the fourth dimension as a frequency fence, so people can't get beyond that frequency fence. Well, then they'll get to the next one, which is level 5 or level 6, and then there's different implants and things that need to be cleared. But on this planet right now, a lot of the big one is because of abductions and this kind of thing. Well, I don't want to go too much down that rabbit hole, but in Ireland, what they did is they seeded war and things like that, because remember, this was the Emerald Isle. This was like the jewel. This was the fairy realm where the nature spirits were, a lot of sacred wells on that land of the British Isles, being Ireland, Scotland, England, and Wales. The Druids, all this kind of energetic. So what did they do? They took the temples that were important to the pagan people, and they built Catholic churches on those temples. Now, what's interesting is that the people in Ireland are so loving, in spite of Catholicism.
Awesome.
They're just very loving and still connected to nature and that fairy realm, nature spirit, in a very deep way, that and retaining something to do with the old ways, something that in America we don't have so much. I mean, native cultures have it, but it's different.
I really feel that that's why California is being targeted so much too, spiritually speaking, because it is the first chakra. It is the core grounding of Gaia herself into the earth. And I think all of these things are interestingly, they're all intermixed. I mean, these microcosms of history, and the recycling of unresolved, not issues, but rituals, unresolved rituals. You know what I'm saying? I mean, maybe you don't, because I don't really know what I'm saying, but
I'm getting something else right now about seeing California connect into the Mother Ark Hub Gate of the Seattle area of Washington, which is very lush, and that's like anchoring the West Coast, just like Maine is kind of anchoring the East Coast along with this area, because we have the highest mountain east of the Mississippi here, which is called Mount Mitchell, which is crucial to this grid work. I'm seeing actually grid work happening right now. Something is targeting that San Andreas fault again, is what's happening.
No, I can
and this
feel
actually connects in with the Asian grids, because there's a lot of Asians in Southern California, and even whatever is going on in Chinatown with San Francisco, because who is working on taking over our financial markets?
Well,
China.
It's the dragon. Okay? It's the dragon family, isn't it?
Dragon family. This is what's been coming in, was the whole dragon. Okay, so this brings this synchronicity, and I'm working with the moxa. Okay, this is Chinese medicine. I mean, I'm a fan of Chinese medicine, but the acupuncture school I work with is the Taoist form of acupuncture. So what's been happening is that the synchronicity has been off the charts for what I'm doing with the Asian grids. It started with Ron having memories of his past, because he was connected to wanting to know more about Vietnam. Okay, there's some personal things there I won't get into, but Vietnam, and then he listened to a show about Cambodia, and I was getting the download. I said, oh my God, the Vimanas and the temples are there. The temples to do with Krishna, Vishnu, all this kind of thing. And in Vietnam, the underground water system, I'm getting, there's underground tunnels over the whole ocean, and this is a beautiful area. And there's something with what's happening in the waters from Cambodia and Vietnam down. So anyway, last Sunday, we ate at a restaurant called Coriana. It's great food, by the way. And then we went to a pet store. And in the pet store, there was a young starseed indigo, did not know who she was. She kind of had, the piercings, the tattoo, the dark hair. She had a lizard on her back, on her back shoulder. And I'm looking at little reptile on the back of her shoulder. And then we hear from Ron's daughter, who had been at a place in Florida in Delray Beach called Murakami Park, Japanese gardens, where they had people dressed up in the kabuki, the white faces, but then the anime, which is the distorted sexualization of cartoons.
Oh my God! He's not going to give up.
I know. And the funny thing is his daughter said she saw someone that had a lizard on the shoulder. Okay? And she said it was a bearded dragon. So I Googled this, and it was the same lizard that we saw. Then I go to YouTube, and I'm looking at the picture of the bearded dragon, and all of a sudden, I didn't go to YouTube, I just looked at the picture.
Yeah.
The video itself went to YouTube. I didn't click on YouTube, and it decides to show me two of these bearded dragons having sex. Now, I did not want to see this. I did not want to see two bearded dragons having sex, but I guess I needed to see these reptilians procreating. Okay? Then I visited a friend in Etowah. Was helping him out with some packages that had to get to the post office on time so they could sell some of their products. And he wanted Italian food. However, the only place that was open was the Asian restaurant. So we went to the Asian restaurant, and I had a vegetarian Thai, and he had what he had, was all different kinds of Asian. And as we were leaving, the guy said, I'm glad you enjoyed the food. My father-in-law works at the other Asian restaurant by me called the Asian Grill, which is right next to the pet store where the reptilian was, the little bearded dragon. And then as I'm leaving, I see a picture of T-Rex on a National Geographic magazine. Then my friend tells me a story of what was going to be in their radio show about bearded dragons. I don't want to tell that story, but it's just too gross. But something about the bearded dragons and the whole reptile thing. And I've just been noticing more how we've been genetically modified with a lot of reptilian genetics. And when we start to see this within ourselves, just be okay with it.
Yeah.
Just know, claim sovereignty. We're everything on this planet, and claim our sovereignty.
Exactly. It's just like with anybody. There are good humans and there are not good humans, and there is everything in between. Humans that can be easily manipulated, humans that, are fearful. Anyway, it's the same thing with reptiles, and we've got to get used to that, because we're going to see so many different races that you can't be racist, people. It's just, get used to it. And don't allow, as you've stressed so eloquently, don't give up your power, people. If you give up your power to your coworker, to a bully, to your animal, to your dog, then yes, you're going to be controlled. And there goes my dogs, because my husband's home from work. But if you don't give it up, if you own your shadow side and stand firm in who you are, and resonate with the highest essence of who you are, this is all mitigatable. That's not even a word, but it is for right now. You can mitigate it. It's possible.
Because it's synchronistically showing up in a lot of places.
No, I agree. I totally agree. So much synchronicity. Yes, to validate your synchronicity too.
The Orion and the dragon, this and that, because Tibet, I think China's the 8th Stargate, I'm pretty sure. And Tibet
yes, I would
is
imagine.
the 9th. Yeah. So
and
there is something.
And we're in 8 years, so that makes sense.
So there's some big stuff going on with all this.
Oh yeah.
And all of it. So I just wondered if you had you might have some pieces there I just want to put that synchronicity out for people to be connecting in and looking, keeping track of what shows up as far as patterns over and over again.
Absolutely. No, everything that you said is so right on. It's exactly what I've been experiencing. And one of the things that I stress this to, the audience. It's like Facebook is awesome for getting validation, for connecting with people, and kind of working out your polarities a little bit. but honestly, it's like, try to disconnect from that and feel what's going on within yourself. I don't rely on other people for information. I let it come through myself. And then I go and find out, are my other light workers feeling the same thing? Because that's the only way we can honestly, truly gauge, what's going on here. And it's through our own intuition. And yes, the Asian thing, and my great grandmother is pure Chinese, so what I keep doing, you're getting the synchronicities and bringing those up. I get the synchronicities of my life path and my genetic history, and I'm very connected to a new connection for me this last year that I picked up through doing some work with my Akashic records, which I do on and off, but you can only, when you get these downloads, you can only integrate so much. So you can just take little pieces at a time and you work through them. Anyway, I got the new connection, or the new information with a connection to an older connection for me to Cygnus. And Cygnus, I do believe, also is completely connected to the bird people, and connected to Jesus, and not the Jesus from the Christian, that's just like a nursery rhyme. But I mean, the being that was from Sirius that is known on this planet as Jesus, who Ezekiel refers to.
Yeshua.
Yeah, and that goes back to Cygnus, and Cygnus is the swan. So again, that's the bird. So I'm just connecting to all my galactical synchronicities. Because that's where I feel that I'm gaining the most headway right now, is not so much this planet. I'm trying to sort of survive the planet right now, but it's really deciphering those higher codes. I guess codes. I'm not sure that I if that's appropriate description, but yeah, there's something going on for sure with everything you've said.
Well, the other piece, when you bring up Yeshua, I'm going to bring up Mary Magdalene, because we thought a trip was going to happen, a family trip going into Barcelona, Spain, and into the south of France near Carcassonne, around Le Chateau. And now with all this, it's not flowing. I'm not to say that it won't happen, but it has to do with the Cathar body, which is the representation. One representation is the Magdala, Mary Magdalene. So what's interesting, if I don't go to the trip, one of my teachers at yoga is from Ireland, but she's French. She was in Australia, and then for a couple of years, and then went down to, you hear Carson again, and went to the Yucatan, to Belize, and I think she's at Guatemala. So sometimes we do grid work just from the people we come in contact with that aren't aware what they're doing. We connect with them energetically and fill them in and get the pieces from them going, and we don't maybe have to go at all. So there is something with all grants and all that, but my feeling of what's happening there is that they want to dismantle the euro. I mean, whether it happens or not, this is a potential of who knows what. I don't like to get too much into this, but I do like to look on the physical levels and see what they're up to. And, there's a lot of propaganda. All this stuff that we hear, it's all fear porn. I am convinced all this, it's just craziness. So maybe if we stop looking, we'll go away, because if we're one, even though we're not all the same, we're different timelines here. We're one in many different timelines. But when we, the forerunners, get it and shift where we don't have to look at that garbage, will the 100th monkey happen? And then people will wake up, this is what we're hoping that, because something's got to be done and change soon. It's like I feel like we're on borrowed time here. Even though in the architecture it's changing. It has changed a lot in the architecture. It's just the thing of those beings coming in, doing time travel, undoing what we've done. But there is a stabilization as far as the architecture in our body and in the earth. It's just, how's it going to go now? It's not going to have cataclysm. There's no pole shift and all this. Oh, which brings me to another thing that's been circulating around. I don't know if you've heard this. This makes a lot of people angry. It's called the flat earth theory.
Oh, God, okay? Yeah, I know.
Now, what I'm going to say to people is the truth is in, remember in Alice in Wonderland, she goes into the rabbit hole, the truth is in the nonsense. What came to me about this, because I had a whole synchronicity about this in 2013 when I heard the Beatles song in my head, because the world is round, it turns me on.
Yeah.
Getting this whole thing, why did they believe the earth was flat? And Copernicus brought in the earth was round. Well, what was coming to me, depending on what dimension of reality somebody is looking through, what will we see the earth as? Maybe as a 2D person, you see the earth as flat. As a 3D person, you see the earth as round. As a 4D person, maybe we see it as some kind of pyramidal structure. As a 5D, it'd be something else. As a 6D, it could be like a six-pointed star. So I'm not saying any of this is literal, because the Truman Show keeps showing up. The movie The Truman Show. Did you see that movie ever?
Wait, I just got to say, yes, I did. And Truman Show is what's been on my mind lately so much. Just the fact that this is a virtual reality. And then something we just saw the other day. Oh, I know. Interstellar, as you just now were talking. Wait, just as you were just now talking about what you just said, the flat earth theory. What was going through my mind was the scenes in Interstellar when he's going through the dimensions. And I didn't want to interrupt you, because I'm bad at interrupting, but I was holding on to it. But I was seeing that all those scenes where and they're flat, and he's going through the dimensions. So I already had in my mind said I was going to say to you, Missy, it's because, and then you said it. So once again, yes, in fact, that is absolutely correct. It's not, but think about this, those people who are fixated with the flat part of it, because yes, that's true. But think about the fact that everything is spherical, even our energy, the orbs, it's spherical.
Yeah.
So I absolutely know. I don't even need to argue this. It's not even something that I could even interface with. Not because I know everything, not because I've been brainwashed, because everything inherently within my being knows that we are spherical. I mean, we are.
Right. So when I brought that up with certain people, it was more to get a reaction, not because I believe this.
No, but it's true though. The dimensions are flat. Whatever.
Yeah, but listen to this. You're talking spherical. If something is plasma, say, and we leave a 3D state and become more of a plasma state of matter, we can take whatever shape we want.
Sure. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
As plasma.
Absolutely.
Spherical, yes, and different forms of sacred geometry. So I thought that's a fun thing, because people get upset, and just because you don't agree with something, why get mad? It's like the Christian or the person, the Democrats and the Republicans that fight against each other when at the end of the day, they go out and have a party together, the ones that are in office, they eat pizza or whatever. It's just craziness. We know it's the same coin, one side's the heads, the other side's the tail, but it's the same coin. So, I just thought this is interesting to bring up, because we're in a holographic system, but it's a controlled system with some artificial intelligence, but we're an organic living system. So we are a precious jewel here. That's why everybody's so interested in this creation, this experiment, or whatever you want to call it. Why are they so interested in us?
Definitely.
And the dome thing is the glass ceiling. When people say there's an Earth with a dome, the dome is a glass ceiling or a frequency fence.
Yes.
Depending on your level of consciousness, that's why there's a dome. It's an electrostatic dome. It's not like, it's particles that are changed where you can't get in or out, or depending, unless you can slip by because your frequency's high enough, then you get out of the dome. Right. That's what that means.
Yeah.
I just want to tell people, because this thing is going to go around, this flat Earth with a dome thing. Yeah. But then it brought me to think about Spaceship Earth. Remember how we've heard this called Spaceship Earth? Yeah. The Earth is 23 degrees off. And you know who gets into that quite well is Santos Bonacci. Talks a lot about him. He's wonderful about the cardinal points and the tropic of Cancer and Capricorn and the different winter, summer, winter. That's some great stuff. What he talks about that kind of theory, which is, this whole thing. It's like pledging allegiance to the flag. That's an energy harvesting. Yeah. Or getting a baptism. These are like contracts, and even the money. Clear your money when you get money. Clear your banking if you have to do business with banks. And that brings us into the Knights Templar, which were originally where banking comes from. Yeah, I know. Promissory and all this kind of thing. Yeah.
I mean, it's insidious. Anybody that wants to drop down the rabbit hole, who hasn't, good luck with that. You're going to be gone for a few years. But when somebody really wraps their brain around what transpired, I mean, that is assuming they've gone far enough past the next thing and the next thing and the next thing, because you open this door and then there's another door and then there's another door. But I mean, just when you really take it in, see, it doesn't affect me anymore. It's like, I don't know. I just, it's normal. And when I talk about this stuff, people who don't know it, they're just like, what? I mean, it's like, wake up, people. Don't you ever, I always wanted to know from the time I was a kid what this place was. I was never just satisfied with we're here. What does that mean, we're here? What do you mean we're here? I mean, come on, God? What are you kidding me? A man with a beard and a white robe? Come on, I'm 4 years old. You know what I mean? This is ridiculous.
An alien. So let's talk to the people that have come out of the rabbit hole. Enough being in the rabbit hole. We're working now with the people that are coming out of the rabbit hole.
Nobody can tell you about this stuff, people. Nobody, not even Missy and I can tell you about this. Really, this is just Missy and I enjoying each other and validating. Because you have to go through this yourself. Every person is on a different path and a different trajectory and has different information. We're all beautiful flowers. None of us are going to bloom exactly the same, man. So go within. Touch nature. Talk to those animals, man. That rooster's got tons of stuff to tell Missy, and all my babies have tons of stuff to share with me, and the butterflies and the dragonflies. Everybody's got stories to tell. Plug in.
I might be able to get him. You want to see him real quick?
Oh, God, yes. Oh, God.
Let me go see what I think he's...
He's so dark, he's barely visible, but I can see his red. Oh, look at him. Hi, Carson. Carson, I love your feeties. Look at you, buddy. Hi.
Here's Soda and Buffy.
Hi, Soda. I remember Soda. Hi, Buffy. Hi, guys. How are
How's
you?
your goat doing?
Oh, everybody's
Okay.
good. They're crazy. They're insane. You know, they're awesome. I love my animals so much. I can't even stand it.
I got one more for me.
Oh,
Carson?
Carson! It's the end of the world as we know it. It's the
And I'll
end
let
of the
you go
world as we know it.
fine.
But I feel fine.
And this is Curry.
Oh, Curry looks like Curry. Hi, Curry.
Yes,
Hi, Curry.
she does.
What a cute little girl. Hi, sweetie. You sitting there with Mama? Oh, you're so pretty.
So our fur babies are doing just as much work as we are, even though they're
Oh,
in a different skin suit. They're doing a lot of work.
yeah, they are. Yeah, they are. All the animals I've noticed are kind of going through their different things. I think the thing that I'm most aware of in the last few days is, especially maybe it's because it's Earth Week, is we're we're definitely turning a corner right here. I mean,
I feel that.
the Earth can't sustain us all, and I really, again, I don't mean to bring the tone down, but I want people to be prepared. And I don't, and yes, of course, we want you to be prepared with water and food. We want you to get your body and you know, and mind mentally prepared. But I mean, really, we you know, we have to be prepared to let go. It's definitely an interesting time. It's definitely changing into something different. I think we'll see something soon. I mean, we're gonna definitely feel something very soon. I mean, what is today, Friday? It could be something before the weekend's even over. I mean, we feel like we're sitting right on top of some big bitch slap. Excuse my French.
Mm-hmm.
You know, between the 1st and the 5th is a huge window right there. But it feels like what I'm feeling right now is a prelude and then the shoe drops. Like a slap and then a fall. So possibly something slapping us before the weekend's over. And of course, this won't be live until then. So, well, I think we touched upon a lot of stuff, and mostly this will be good for people who are, you know, just going through what we've been going through ourselves. And I mean, that's really what I always wanted to be there for, is to be able to validate for people what they're experiencing, you know?
Yeah.
Anyway, oh my God, your arm are completely almost gone. So I love you, my darling. I can see that. I can see. Oh, peace and
Namaste,
namaste.
namaste,
Shante,
namaste.
shante, shante. All right, honey. Take good care of yourself. And this will be up next Sunday, and we'll talk before then, but I love you to
Yes,
death,
yes.
Missy. You're the best. I enjoy our conversations. Your energy is always so just immensely wonderful for my spirit to take in, and I love your animal family, and thank you for being my friend, honey.
Love you too. In the name of the Christ. Yes.
Woo, Christos! Love you,
Yes.
darling. Take care. Have a good weekend.
Okay, bye!
So, I was in college. It was about 1987, and had rented this room in the bottom of a house from a couple, and it was like a basement. It was pretty crappy, but it was cheap. And so at this time, there was nothing in particular traumatic or unpleasant going on in my life that I can remember to trigger a bad dream or nightmare, if that's what this was. Anyway, I'll just tell it as it happened, or as I experienced it. So I'm asleep in this room, and I wake up, and totally terrified, horrified, for no reason except for whatever I'm sensing there, or hearing, and I'm frozen. I'm paralyzed, can't move anything. Just staring into space, like up at the ceiling. And I can look over at the door to my room, and above the door, there's a light going back and forth like this. You can see it flashing. And the doorknob is going. So that's disturbing. I can move my eyes around. I look down to the end of my bed, and there's a chair there sitting at the end of the bed. And I see what looks to me to be a baby. Like a baby that has been in a fire. It's charred, like chicken barbecue when it's on too long. The skin is just black, and it's this little tiny baby about this big. And it sees that I'm awake and looking at it, and it goes like that. And of course, I freak out from that, more terrorized, and I try to scream, but I can't. I'm not making any sound. This glob of like jelly stuff comes out of my mouth onto my chest, but I don't make any sound. So I don't wake up at that point. There's an indeterminate amount of time between that time and when I do wake up, which is not like a normal nightmare where you just wake up and get a drink of water or something, get outside, take a walk or whatever, think about the dream. It was just like a blackout from there. I woke up in the morning. I remembered the dream. It was horrifying. But I also felt like I wanted to go right back to sleep, which didn't fit with the logic of my mind. It didn't make any sense. I just had the most horrible dream of my life. And logically, I wanted to get up, think about it. It's just to be awake, but I was going back to sleep. So I felt like I was drugged. So I actually went outside the room in the snow, in my underwear, put snow on myself to wake myself up. That's that. That's the end of that dream. Now, that could be written off as just a pretty horrifying dream. And that's probably how I would leave it. Pretty much 95% convinced that that was just a dream. But about a year later, pretty much exactly a year later, I was in another apartment, different apartment, another part of the town. Kind of forgotten about that dream. It wasn't really in my mind. I'm asleep in this room, and in this room it was a house. So there were 3 or 4 other people living in the house. So, laying there asleep, and suddenly I wake up again. Same feeling as that last time. Complete horror, paralysis, and I'm laying in a fetal position, kind of facing the wall. The wall is like right here. I'm looking at it, and I think, not again. They got me again. And it's as if I'm in the room totally awake. There's no difference between a dream and being in the room awake, especially how long it seemed to take. So I'm laying there looking at my wall, paralyzed, with the feeling that there's something behind me, messing around back there. Couldn't hear it, couldn't see it. So I start to feel, maybe I can get my hand to start moving if I keep trying to move it little bit by little bit. So I was trying to clench it, unclench it, and slowly over time I got so I could move it maybe about that much. I could close my fingers into a fist, and I was thinking I was going to grab it, whatever it was, with my one hand that was now paralyzed. Then I thought, that's a really great plan. That's a great plan. Please don't do that. But I knew there were other people in the house, so I decided that I couldn't use my vocal cords the same way. I decided that I would make noises to try to wake them up, but noises that I could make. So I was laying there, and I was going, and then I was going, loud as I could. Loud. And one would think that after, a certain amount of time, 3 o'clock in the morning, people will go, shut up! Shut up! No. So again, all this transpired. I didn't wake up right then. I woke up in the morning, missing time between when I had the dream or whatever happened. And this was very convincing, but still could have been a dream. Still in that realm of possibility. Very, very much so, because that's what makes sense. But I didn't tell anybody in the house anything, and no one said anything to me like, why were you making fart noises very loudly last night? Nothing. I see them at breakfast, and I talked to 2 of them separately. So I asked the one person, a girl, that's in a room right across the hall from my room. And I asked her, did you have any dreams last night? I didn't tell her I had any dreams. And she said, oh yeah. I had a weird dream that, this is the girl now. She said, I had a weird dream that I was in an operating room, like those medical operating rooms where they train students, and I was being operated on. I was down on the table, and up above there were all these people watching that I couldn't see. I was like, that's interesting. It's an interesting dream. Later, I talked to a guy that was immediately across the hall from my room, right across. And I asked him if he'd had any dreams, and he said, yeah. He said, I woke up in my room. I was awake in my room, and I was laying there, and my cat was examining me all over my body. It was like touching me. And it looked exactly like my cat, except its head was this big and it had eyes like this. So, that was the end of that episode. And I found that very convincing. I never really told the people that, hey, I had a dream that I was examined by aliens last night, and I think they examined you too. Now with that, I'd say I'm about 95% sure that that's what was happening. It has to be either that, or that I had a dream that was so strong that I projected it to the other people, because it's pretty much exactly the same dream for all 3 people that were involved, especially the person that was awakened in their room and examined by a cat with big eyes. So that was the last of those dreams or events that I had that I could say was possibly real event of aliens coming in and doing something. I continued to have dreams after that where I felt that they were the presence of these entities disguised as people that I knew. They would be friends or family, whatever, but they would always float above the ground. They float like this far above the ground, which is a dead giveaway for not being a human being, not being your friend. I had a dream I was on a train with a bunch of people. We were being taken someplace, and somebody gave themselves away by floating. Another time I was on the back of a truck, like an army truck, with all these people, and my friend was there talking to me, and he started to float above the ground, and I said, hey, you know what? That's going to give you away that you're not who you say you are if you're floating above the ground. And he was like, oh, okay. I had another one of those dreams where I woke up in a room that I didn't recognize, with bamboo all around it, and I had that feeling of being drugged, being paralyzed, but this wasn't the room I went to sleep in. I didn't know where I was. And I looked around and I started to feel as if I was drugged, and I said, I'm not going to do this again. So I got up out of the bed and just about falling down, and I just kept moving my body like this. I was like moving and moving and moving, so that, I forgot to say, I was laying there and I was starting to get alarmed. A voice started to sing to me, singing this lullaby, and it was going la 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 la, which is nice. But then I realized that it was one person singing in 3-part harmony with themselves. So it was da 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 la 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 all at once, which alarming again. And I got out of the bed. I didn't see whoever it was, and I kept moving until I could move. Then, door to the room flew open like this, and I saw a silhouette, the classic Alien X-Files silhouette, like this, very skinny, standing there, looking in, and then it went and came in toward me until it was bumping into my chest like this, and I beat the hell out of it. I just started punching and punching and punching. So I don't think that went the way it was supposed to go. After that, I would have various dreams where I encountered these people, whatever they were, and I would try to tell everyone else about it, that they're here, look, see these people floating, they're not real, they're aliens, whatever, and everyone would just laugh at me, So I was with another group of people in the stream telling them, look, they're coming to look at us, and this guy comes floating up the stairs and floating down the hall, and I'm like, look, there he is, look at this guy floating, coming down the stairs, and I came up to him and I said, you know what? I know what you're doing, and I don't want you to come visit me in dreams. If you want to talk to me, see me, you can come see me when I'm awake. And the guy said, you can't do that. We don't do that. And I said, well, I don't want you coming anymore. I don't like this. He said, all right, okay. And he starts to leave. And he's floating away, he's floating back down the stairs, and I say, hey! And he looks over and I said, someday I'm going to figure out how to do this, and I'm going to come into your dreams. He kind of smiled and he said, maybe you will, maybe you will. So that's my story about that. Believe it or not. Take it as you will. I've never... and see the movie Communion, if you want to know what this is like. It's very spooky and very freaky, this movie. And in that, it's Christopher Walken, and he undergoes hypnosis therapy, which is something I wouldn't want to do to uncover whatever that really was, the dream or whatever. Because I've heard that they can plant things, sort of. You might imagine something, or they say something that then becomes real. Well, maybe you remember stuff that you do not want to remember. And still, you're never quite sure whether it is real. Like if I had, not sure that I would want to see a videotape of me being examined by whatever from that room, but I would rather have that than a memory that's being remembered, because you can't ever be sure. But I'm pretty much 95% sure. And all I can say is people who I tell this story to tend to be interviewed by these people as well. So, sleep tight tonight, everybody. Enjoy.